For 3 days and 3 nights, the Jewish people and the queen fasted, praying for courage, protection, and a miracle. On the 3rd day, Esther changed out of her rough sackcloth and put on her most splendid royal robes. She did not dress for beauty, but for power. It was a costume of courage. She walked into the inner court, the great hall leading to the throne. This was the point of no return. She stood in the doorway, waiting, with the sun on her face and her heart pounding a rhythm of sacrifice. The king looked up from his affairs. He saw Esther. The silence that followed was agonizing. The king held the power of life and death in his gaze. Would his eye signal execution or love? But the king's love was instantly renewed. More than that, he felt a sudden sense that order had returned. He smiled. He held out the golden scepter, the sign of safety. Esther stepped forward and touched the tip of the scepter. She was safe, for now. "What is your request, Queen Esther?" the king asked, relieved and generous. "Whatever you ask. Up to half the kingdom, it is yours." Esther smiled gently. Her timing was critical. "If it pleases the king," she said, "let the king and Haman come today to a very special banquet I have prepared." Haman was ecstatic, mistaking the queen's invitation for great honor. The great plan had begun. Haman went home from the first banquet bursting with pride. He had been honored above all others. But all his joy instantly turned sour when he saw Mordecai still sitting at the gate, refusing to bow. "The queen invited no one but the king and me," Haman boasted to his wife Zeresh. "But none of this means anything while that Jew sits at the gate." "Then build a gallows," his wife advised. "A great, towering gallows, 75 feet high. Ask the king in the morning to hang Mordecai on it. Then you can go to your banquet in joy." That same momentous night, the king could not sleep. His mind raced. He paced his chambers and finally ordered his servants to read the royal chronicles, the book of all noble deeds done for the crown.
Read from the records of the kingdom, starting with the tribute from the provinces.
The king needed distraction, but fate provided destiny. As the scroll was read in the quiet of the night, the reader paused. "There is a mention here of the Jew Mordecai," he read. "He exposed a plot to murder the king." The king sat up in bed. "What honor or distinction has been given to Mordecai for this great service?" "Nothing," came the quiet, damning answer. Just then, Haman, fresh from watching his gallows built, arrived early to request permission to hang Mordecai.
The hour of my triumph has arrived. Soon, Mordecai, my enemy.
Before Haman could speak his request, the king demanded, "Haman, what should be done for the man the king delights to honor?" Haman's heart leaped with blinding, foolish pride. "Surely the king means me." Haman declared grandly, "Let the man be clothed in the king's own robes, led through the city on the king's own horse, and let a noble prince shout before him. This is what is done for the man the king delights to honor." The king smiled. "Excellent. Now go quickly. Do everything you have just said for Mordecai the Jew who sits at the palace gate."
Do this for Mordecai the Jew.
Haman's face drained of color. He was forced to walk before his greatest enemy, to lead the king's horse, and to cry out the words of honor he had designed for himself. It was a humiliation beyond measure. Mordecai, dressed in royal splendor, rode calmly through the streets of Shushan, his honor restored, while Haman performed the very ceremony that crowned his enemy. Utterly defeated and ashamed, Haman rushed home, robes disheveled, covering his face. His wife knew their fortune had turned. "If Mordecai is one of the Jewish people," she warned, "you will surely fall before him." Before he could fully mourn his spectacular failure, the royal servants arrived to whisk the broken Haman away to Esther's second final banquet. The hour of justice was at hand. The king, Esther, and Haman sat at the second banquet table. The air was charged with fate. The king, feeling festive, leaned forward. "What is your petition, Queen Esther?" he asked once more. Tell me your deepest request. It shall be granted." Esther took a deep breath, swallowing the last of her fear. Her voice was clear and strong, cutting through the festive atmosphere like a sharpened blade. "If I have found favor in your sight, O king," she pleaded, "grant me my life, that is my petition, and spare my people, that is my request." The king was instantly stunned. "Your life? Who would dare threaten the queen?" Esther pointed a steady finger, not trembling, at the terrified man beside them. "The adversary and enemy is this wicked Haman."
This man, despite your trust, has plotted to annihilate my people. He is the traitor.
Haman was trapped. The king rose in a blind, sudden rage, unable to contain his fury or believe his deception. He stormed out into the palace garden to cool his mind and decide Haman's fate. While the king was gone, Haman fell to his knees at Esther's feet, begging for his life, pleading right on the queen's couch. When the king returned, he saw Haman pleading at Esther's side. He misinterpreted the scene with renewed, final fury. "Will he assault the queen in my own house?" At that moment, an attendant spoke up. "Look, your majesty, Haman has just built a towering gallows, 75 feet high, for the man who saved your life, Mordecai." The wheel of fortune had turned completely. The king did not hesitate. "Hang him on it!" And so, Haman was executed on the very gallows he had proudly built for the righteous Mordecai. Esther wept before the king, asking him to revoke the terrible decree against the Jews. Though the king's first command, sealed with his signet ring, could not be undone, he gave Esther and Mordecai the authority of his ring. Haman's vast estate and position were given to Mordecai, who was instantly made the second most powerful man in the kingdom. Esther and Mordecai wrote a new decree. It was sent to all the provinces. The Jews were given the full right to defend themselves, gather together, and protect their lives against all who wished them harm. The decree of hope rode out across the land, replacing the decree of doom.
The king has shown us favor. We may remain. Blessed is he. Joy to the kingdom.
On the day the terrible plot was meant to be carried out, the Jewish people were not destroyed. They stood up and fought for their lives. They were victorious, winning peace, safety, and joy throughout the kingdom. Queen Esther, the secret star, had fulfilled her destiny. She used her position, her quiet courage, and her wisdom to save her entire nation. She reigned as a true queen and protector, forever remembered for her bravery and faith. And to remember that the plot was decided by casting lots, called Pur, the Jewish people established the joyful holiday of Purim, where they feast, give gifts, and celebrate the great reversal of fortune that saved them all. This is the story of a humble girl named Myrtle who became a star. It is a tale that reminds us that pride can destroy you utterly, and that goodness and courage are written into the book of destiny, ready to be revealed when the moment is right. It is a story of how the quietest person with the biggest heart was placed in the perfect palace
at the perfect time. The courage to speak truth to power is the greatest power of all.
She came to her royal position for such a time as this. Never forget the star Queen Esther.
Thank you for watching Bible on Point, Engaging Lives for God. Please share, like, and subscribe. Be a blessing to others.
A girl in the shadows, a whisper in the hall. No crown could make her taller, no gold could stop her call.